The NFL draft is behind us. The NFL schedule is behind us. And on today's episode, I'm looking forward to the 2025 NFL season. I'm going to give you 5 different Green Bay Packers that I expect to have a breakout season in 2025. If you're excited about the season as I am, I promise you're going to be even more excited after watching today's video. Before we get into any of the breakout candidates, any of the breakout players, make sure you guys are following me on social media. You can find me at Joey Petersen 8 on both Twitter and on Instagram. I cover the Packers daily on Twitter. Instagram, you don't get to see much except pictures of my wife and my dog, but still a good follow. Again, Joey Petersen 8 on both platforms. I'm really close to 900 followers. If you can help me get there, that would be much, much appreciated. Let's start with the breakout candidates, my first of the bunch. Give me MarShawn Lloyd, running back, who in his second year, I'm really, really excited for what he might possibly bring to this Green Bay Packers team. If you think about what he was able to do in 2024, it wasn't much. I mean, 6 carries, 15 yards, a whopping average of 2.5 yards per carry and 0 touchdowns. And you might be looking at that and saying, you know what, Joey, why the hell do you think he's going to have a breakout season? He was awful last year, and if you don't really know much, you didn't pay attention, well, it was because he couldn't get on the field. And a lot of that seemed to not be his fault. You know, just kind of bad injury luck. Dealt with a hip injury in training camp, a hamstring injury in preseason. Week 1, he sprained his ankle when he was finally back from both of those. And then week 10, he was ready to come back, gearing up, excited, and then appendicitis hit. And so it just was one of those years where Marshon Lloyd really couldn't catch a break, and now he's fully healthy, ready to go for a 2025 season that I'm really excited to see what he has. Now, I'm not expecting him to come in here and be the running back one on this roster. I know, you know, everybody in the whole freaking country knows that that spot belongs to one Josh Jacobs. But still, from what you saw at him at USC, from what he was able to do in college, from what you saw of him in the little times you saw him in the preseason as well in 2024, I'm pumped up to see what he's going to have in 2025. I'm really excited to see him kind of backing up Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to give this rushing offense a great wrinkle, even when Jacobs is off the field. I think Marshon Lloyd is poised to have a great season upcoming. Shout him out, okay? Name a breakout player for the Packers in 2025. I just gave you one. I'm about to give you 4 more. But I need you guys to do one thing for me. That's get in the comment section and name one for me. It can be Marshon Lloyd. It can be somebody totally different. Just go ahead and get down there and reply to this pinned comment with your answer. We talked Marshon Lloyd. Now let's go to our second breakout candidate, Tucker Kraft. I really think of all of these players we're talking about today, Tucker Kraft might be number 1 on this list for guys who I think are going to have a really good year in 2025. You look at what he was able to do in 2024, and it was really, really special. It's one of those stat lines that if you don't watch the Green Bay Packers, and if you just kind of, graze across the NFL, I guarantee you had no idea that Tucker Kraft caught for 7 touchdowns and almost eclipsed 1,000 yards on 50 catches. And where I think Tucker Kraft was a massive winner in the offseason was with the additions of Savion Williams and Matthew Golden. And I think there's one way to look at it in a negative light, and you might be saying, Joey, what are you talking about? You just drafted 2 wide receivers that are going to garner a lot of, catches. They're going to get a lot of targets. They're going to take a lot away from Tucker Kraft. But I kind of choose to look at it as last year, when you're a defense preparing for Green Bay, you didn't have to go far to find Tucker Kraft on your list of guys to scheme against. With the additions of Matthew Golden, with the additions of Savion Williams, and already having Jayden Reed and Josh Jacobs on this roster, Tucker Kraft just goes more and more down the list, and I think he could have a year that he takes really big advantage of that. His tight end coach, John Dunn, spoke to the media earlier this past week, had some glowing things to say, and really emphasized how much he wants to get the ball to Tucker Kraft. Here's what he had to say. He said, when you get into the season, plays build off other plays, but he's shown what he can do down the field, intermediate, or even at or behind the line. So it's obvious that John Dunn has seen what we've all seen from this past year, that Tucker Kraft is a player that excels at multiple different levels from the field. He's not just a blocking tight end. He's not just an in-route tight end. You can take him long. You could keep him in the backfield. You could put him anywhere on the field, and he's going to excel. Let's go to our third breakout candidate. Let's talk about Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker, last year's first-round selection, and I think this guy is going to be a star. He had a good season in 2024, 87 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups. I think we can all agree that he definitely came on a little bit later than everybody would have really liked him to, and I think that's kind of what led to him having such an underrated year. It took him a little bit while to get the reins under him, to learn playing in the National Football League and to really show what he was capable of doing. But if you think back to how he ended last season, the last 4 or 5 games of the year, he had like 50 tackles. The dude was absolutely unbelievable. And if you look at what we like to call havoc plays, he led all rookies in havoc plays, which is a pass breakup, an interception, a forced fumble, a tackle for loss, or a sack. A play that you're wreaking havoc against an opposing offense. He was number 1 in the NFL, 21 havoc plays. And he did it where you kind of didn't even really notice it. He flew very heavily under the radar. And what I'm really excited for him is he's just got 1 year under his belt now in the National Football League, and he's able to adjust, not just with his play, but with his size as well. Here's what Jeff Hafley had to say about Edgerrin Cooper. Have you seen him? When you see him now, he looks different. He must be close to 240 pounds. He's locked in and focused, and he knows what he's doing. He was such a massive help in the run game last year, and being 240 pounds above from that 229 that he played at last year is only going to help him. And he was still phenomenal. A 10.8% run stop rate last year, 6th among linebackers with at least 100 run defense snaps, highest rate for a Packers linebacker, at least 100 run defense snaps since Jake Ryan in 2017. He had a phenomenal year last year, and I expect him to take another bump up in 2025. Take a guess for me down below. How many tackles do you think Edgerrin Cooper has in 2025? I got a feeling he's eclipsing triple digits this year. But you let me know your thoughts down below. We're talking about a lot of guys who played last year. Let's talk about a new addition. And I'm not talking the band. I'm talking to Nate Hobbs, cornerback, formerly with the Las Vegas Raiders. They acquired him on day 1 of 2025 NFL free agency. And Nate Hobbs had a good season last year with Las Vegas, 49 tackles, an interception, 5 pass breakups. Unfortunately, a little bit like Jair Alexander, not to the same extreme. He kind of struggled staying in the lineup. He, was in and out, dealt with different kind of injuries. He's a super tough kid, played through a lot of them, which I really commend him for. But what I really like about what Nate Hobbs brings to Green Bay is he's so phenomenal in the run game, okay? Which I think in today's NFL, finding a cornerback that's really good in coverage, really versatile, can play on the inside and on the outside, and also great against the run, is a very hard thing to do, and Green Bay found him on the free agent market. Speaking of his versatility, Jeff Hafley spoke about that earlier this week, saying the following. Nate can play outside and Nate can play inside. We're going to have him do both. When you're getting ready for free agency and you're evaluating tape, that's one thing you love about him. He's had a lot of success inside, and I thought his tape outside was equally as good. As he stands currently on this roster, as it's currently constructed on the time we are filming this, he's at the nickel back position because Jair Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon are both of your outside corners. And I believe that that's where he'll be his best, in that slot. Sure, Jeff Hafley says he likes him and thinks he can play outside. And I know Jeff Hafley's watched a lot more Nate Hobbs film than I have, but I just feel like he's way better on the inside than he is on the outside. And I would prefer him to be on the inside than on the outside. He will play his best ball with Jair Alexander still on the field. Whether that's still on the field, in regards of him not being traded, or whether that's still on the field of regards to him not being hurt. If Jair Alexander is out there with Nate Hobbs, I think he's going to have a phenomenal year this next season. Let's round this one out. Number 5, the 5th breakout candidate. Give me Jaden Reed, wide receiver going into his 3rd season. And he's had 2 really, really solid first couple years in the National Football League. And I get it. A lot of people still have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth on Jayden Reed because everything that went down earlier this past week between Brian Gutekunst and his agent Drew Rosenhaus. Those two met. Those two discussed his role, Jayden Reed's role, going into 2025 after the additions of Golden and Savion Williams. And I kind of get it, right? First off, this tweet kind of makes it seem like Brian Gutekunst was the one who set the meeting, not Jayden Reed or Jaden Reed's agent. But still, even if they were the ones that set the meeting, I understand it, right? I talked about this earlier this week. If you are at your job, whether you work in sales or whether you do what I do, and they bring in 2 other Packers hosts, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to have a conversation with my boss and say, hey, are we still cool? I don't want to lose my job with these 2 new guys. It's an incredibly crowded wide receiver room, as we said at the moment. And I think that's a good thing. I think the cream will rise to the top, and I think that will be Jayden Reed, right? Romeo Doubs, I'm really interested to see how his 2025 goes. Matthew Golden, I've got all the confidence in the world. Christian Watson, you're not going to see him until like late November, early December at the earliest. And so I think Jayden Reed, similar in a way that Tucker Kraft will benefit a ton from the additions of Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. We're not going to sugarcoat it. Last year's wide receiver room, they weren't good enough. Jayden Reed was the best, and it wasn't even close. Now you add in Matthew Golden, who many people believe might be this team's wide receiver 1 week 1 of the season. Say he is. Guess who's getting a lot less attention? Jayden Reed. And even when he was getting attention, he had phenomenal years. 2024, 857 yards, played all 17 games. And then 2023, 793 yards in 16 games played. This dude has a knack for finding the football. He's got a knack for making plays, and I think he fits really, really well in this offense. And I love the connection and chemistry that him and Jordan Love have together. I think it's exceptional, and I think it's great for the both of them, okay? I think they benefit from each other, and I think the additions in the offense will help Jayden Reed just benefit in general. We're going to get on out of here, but I got to remind you guys to follow me on social media. You can find me at Joey Petersen 8 on both platforms. Make sure to spell that S-E-N right. If you're looking for Joey Petersen 8, it's not going to be me. So find me, follow me, and we'll see you next time.